Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my February anticipated releases, and I'm also going to kind of throw in January at the end just kind of quickly. Hopefully I get to the point where I'm filming them the month before, so hopefully before the end of this month I'll film my March anticipated releases. But anyways, I know that for myself I usually don't keep up with when books are coming out, and I thought maybe just to kind of to let you guys know what things are coming out, I wanted to do better about that this year. These are just things that were on my radar. So just a little heads up, I am just going to be reading the synopsis off of Goodreads, and I'm going to do the screen recording of that. So if you want to mute me and read it yourself, feel free to do that. Or if you just want to put this on while you're doing something in the background, this will be a perfect video for that. So anyways, let's get into it. So starting out with February 3rd has already passed, but I'm still going to show you these. So first up is How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates, which still has a pretty high average rating actually. It says a humorous, swoony, and downright terrifying horror romance in which a young woman gets caught in the middle of a murder spree at a speed dating event and must use her encyclopedic knowledge of the horror genre to make it as a real life final girl. And I don't know, I just think that sounds interesting. Next up is The Lies That Summon the Night. This is actually, I think, one that I entered a giveaway for, yes. So that is why it is currently on my list. Lies, beauty, and seduction mingle in the first book of an enthralling romantasy series where making art is considered a sin, and the shadows born from it aren't the only danger to the creators. Ever since art gave life to bloodthirsty shadows, creative works have been forbidden and the talented creators sacrificed to the sinless, the immortal royals who feast on human blood in return for their protection. Inanna's secret storytelling nearly got her killed once. She'll be damned if she's ever caught again. With a bounty on her head, she keeps to the city's dark underbelly where she earns a meager living from thrill-seeking patrons desperate to hear her illicit fiction, until Dominic, a Shadowbane, catches one of her performances. Dominic is half-sinless monster hunter, as fearsome as his prey. But to complete his hunt, he needs an artist to summon the shadows. He needs Inanna. Dominic delivers an ultimatum: serve him or he'll claim her bounty. When survival is all Inanna has left, the choice is clear. At least she can betray him and leave him for at least until she can betray him and leave him for dead. As their tense alliance leads them into the heart of danger, dark secrets unravel about each other, their world, and the threats they face. But the greatest risk of all is the desire growing between them. There's something more sinful than lust at play, and it could bring the world to its knees. So it says fantasy, romantasy. I see vampires. That sounds good. Can close those out. And then next up is Songbird of the Sorrows, which is another one that has a giveaway. So you can definitely go and enter that, because I should be posting this video tomorrow, hopefully. An outcast princess turned spy embarks on a mission to infiltrate a rival kingdom, but the secrets she uncovers force her to decide whether to follow orders or defy them. Ask no questions, obey your orders, respect your masters, but most of all, love no one. Spy, Thief, Princess, Songbird. Princess Aella was ousted from the Palace of Sorrows as a child, shattering her world and forcing her to abandon the truth of her royal lineage. Instead, she was raised in the aviary, which disguises itself as a school for orphaned children, but is actually a secret order designed to train its students as spies for an intelligence network embedded throughout the Imperios. Now 23 years old and having completed her final test, Aella is summoned to join Alpha Flight, the aviary's elite team of assassins that's led by none other than her former flame, Raven. Everything about him calls to her. He's brave, loyal, and lethal, but is Raven worth breaking the rules and risking everything she's worked so hard to achieve? Before she can decide, the Alpha Flight team is sent on a dangerous mission that tests Ayla's resolve in every way. I think that's probably how you say it. I don't know how I was saying it before. Her role is crucial, and she must assume her former title of Princess of the Sorrows, the identity she once had to forsake to complete the bridal trials held by the Prince of Eretria. As old sparks reignite and the harsh realities of the realm reveal themselves, the mission begins to unravel, and Ayla must decide if she's brave enough to disobey her superiors in order to do what she believes is right. Songbird of the Sorrows is the first book in Myths of the Imperios, an epic romantic fantasy series that follows a feisty heroine through trials, a perilous heist, court intrigue, kingdom politics, and a journey of self-discovery, true love, and redemption. So I see some epic fantasy, romantasy, Greek mythology. All of that sounds like it would be me. So, oh wait. Okay, so I had to enter that, but I don't need you to see my address. So there we go. Okay, I could have sworn I entered that one though. That's weird. Okay, so did I? Let me check these other ones real quick. So I will just have to keep an eye out as I go through this. Okay. Next up are the February 10th releases. So starting with Wicked Onyx, it says, in a ruthless magical academy where she's cursed and powerless, the last Onyx must unravel dark family secrets and navigate dangerous alliances to reclaim her legacy and make those who betrayed her pay. There will be stenciled edges for a limited first print run. You don't graduate Knightsbridge Academy, you survive it. Born into a sorcerer bloodline, cursed and cut off from my power, I was accustomed to being an outcast. For generations, my bloodline carried the weight of a crime committed by our ancestor, but my mother's death changed everything. She left a clue that could prove our innocence, an ancient text hidden deep beneath Knightsbridge Academy. The Academy is a fortress of power, housing the most dangerous enchanters and sorcerers, conscripted to keep horrors and echoes at bay. And as the last surviving Onyx, I'm owed admission. My plan is simple: find the book and expose the Imperium as the liars they are. But I don't plan for the whispers that haunt my dreams, or the complication of feelings I shouldn't be capable of, stirred by two men bound to the very institution I've come to destroy. One sees too much, yet says too little. The other is steady, protective, and always in my corner. I can't have either. Yet when I'm in their presence, my curse begins to crack. If they discover my true purpose, I'm dead. But some truths are worth dying for. The Imperium cursed my bloodline, stripped us of our magic, branded us as traitors, and now they will pay. Okay, so I am assuming this is either going to be a love triangle or a why choose situation. I'm not sure, but some dark romance, fantasy romance, dark academia. Next up is one of my most anticipated releases for the year, and it is Operation Bounce House by Matt Denneman. A man must fight for his planet against impossible odds when gamers from Earth attempt to remotely annihilate in this epic, fast-paced novel from the New York Times bestselling author of the smash hit Dungeon Crawler Carl. All colonists Oliver Lewis ever wanted to do is run the family ranch with his sister, maybe play a gig or two with his band, and keep his family's aging fleet of intelligent agriculture bots ticking as long as possible. As a fan of Earth television and culture, he figures it will be a good thing when the transfer gate finally opens all the way and restores instant travel and full communication between Earth and his planet, New Sonora. But there's a complication. Even though the settlers were promised they'd be left in peace, Earth's government now has other plans. The colossal Apex Corporation is hired to commence an eviction action, but maximizing profits will always be Apex's number one priority. Why spend money printing and deploying their own AI soldiers when they can turn it into a game? Why not charge bored earthers for the opportunity to design their own war machines and remotely pilot them from the comfort of their own homes? The game is called Operation Bounce House. Oliver and his friends soon find themselves fighting for their lives against machines piloted by gamers who've paid a premium for the privilege. With the help of an old book from his grandfather and a bucket of rusty parts, Oliver is determined to defend the only home he's ever known. Definitely want to read that one. I also have Heir of Illusion, an alliance between enemies, a weapon of untold power, and a bond that could rewrite fate. Fall into the viral, propulsive, dark romantasy everyone is reading. A Fey assassin with the power of illusion sworn to a king she despises. An enigmatic Grim Reaper searching for freedom. Enemies collide in an unlikely alliance brimming with desire and destruction. She's not the pet they tamed. Blessed with the power of illusion, Iverson Pomeroy has many tricks up her sleeve. However, none of them are a match for the enchanted collar at her throat that keeps her bound as assassin and mistress to a ruthless king. Forced to play the role of his obedient pet, she plots in secret to destroy him and claim the freedom she has always been denied. She is the beast they let inside. When a mysterious Reaper Thorn arrives in the city with his sights set on the same weapon Ivy needs, the only artifact that can remove her collar, she must decide how far she's willing to go, and she will show no mercy. With a tenuous alliance tying them together, Ivy learns there is more to her reluctant companion than meets the eye. He sparks her curiosity and ignites dangerous desires within her. But will the secrets they harbor destroy each other? And does it even matter when anyone who so much as touches Thorn dies? So, the tropes look like they be troping. Okay, I had to go plug my computer in, so let's keep going. Crown of War and Shadow. It says an outcast burdened with a curse and a mercenary who's out for himself collide in the star-crossed, slow burn, high stakes romantic fantasy. In the dead of night, passions rise and empires fall. Welcome to Kingdoms of the Compass. The fulcrum is failing and demons are slipping into the mortal world, stalking the night. No one is safe, especially not Sorrel. An orphan and an outcast, she spent her whole life within the walls of her small village, ostracized for her mystical abilities. She wants to survive and maybe find someone she can call her true home. Somewhere she can call her true home. But fate has other plans. Sorrel has been chosen, cursed. She must cross the Badlands to return the queen's crown and convince the fearsome female to save their world from destruction. Well aware she's no brave hero, Sorrel makes a dangerous deal with Merc, a brooding, commanding mercenary known only by his unscrupulous profession. The deal, a night in his bed that she will never forget in exchange for her safe passage. But Merc has secrets of his own, and even though passion runs hot between them, enemies are around every corner, and danger and betrayal threaten at every turn. Crown of War and Shadow is the first book in the Kingdoms of the Compass series. Let's see, next up, I have The Sun and the Star Maker. Yeah, I wrote it down the other way before, the Star and the Sun Maker, and I'm like, that's not right. It's The Sun and the Star Maker. There was once a village so far north that most considered it the top of the world, and in that village the sun fell in love with her star maker. So it is a whimsical and sweeping romantic fantasy. Nestled deep in the snowy mountains of the Lost Range, the small village of Reverie endures on a miracle. Beyond the reach of the sun, Reverie is dependent upon the magic of the mysterious star maker. Every morning he trudges across a vast glacier and pulls in sunlight over the peaks, providing the village with the light it needs to survive. Aurora Finch grew up on tales of the Star Maker's magic, never imagining she'd one day meet him. But on the morning of her wedding, a fateful encounter in the frostbitten woods changes everything. The Star Maker senses a powerful magic within her and demands she come study under his guidance. With her newfound abilities tied to the survival of the village, Aurora is swept away to his ice-covered castle at the mountain's peak. The Star Maker is as cold and distant as the dark woods, leaving Aurora to explore his enchanted castle with only an immortal rabbit for company. Yet the more she discovers about the sorcerer, the stronger their ruinous attraction grows, pulling her closer to the secrets he refuses to share. A deadly frost approaches, and Aurora must uncover what the Star Maker is hiding before she is left in an endless winter that even the sun cannot touch. Okay, why does it feel like that's giving Beauty and the Beast vibes? I guess because she's like trapped in his enchanted castle, probably. But anyways, definitely want to read that one. Oh, and another highly anticipated release for this year is Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter. This is by Heather Fawcett, who wrote the Emily Wilde series. This says, a woman who runs a cat rescue in 1920s Montreal turns to a grouchy but charming wizard to help save the shelter in this heartwarming, cozy fantasy. Agnes Aubert leads a meticulously organized life, and she likes it that way. As the proudly Type A manager of a much-needed cat rescue charity, she has devoted her life to finding forever homes for lost cats. But after she is forced to move the cat shelter, Agnes learns that her new landlord is using her charity as a front for an internationally renowned and thoroughly disreputable magic shop. Owned by the disorganized, not to mention self-absorbed, irritating, but also decidedly handsome Havelock Renard. Havelock Renard. Magician and failed Dark Lord, the shop draws magical clientele from around the world, partly due to the quality of Havelock's illicit goods, as well as their curiosity about his shadowy past and rumors of his incredible powers. Agnes's charity offers the perfect cover for illegal magics. Agnes couldn't care less about the shop, magical intrigue or not. There are cats to be rescued. But when an enemy from Havelock's past surfaces, the magic shop, and more importantly, the cat shelter, are suddenly in jeopardy. To save the shelter, will Agnes have to set aside her social conscience to protect the man who once tried to bring about the apocalypse and is now trying to steal her heart? Definitely want to read that. So it's got that like historical, cozy fantasy vibes. I could take or leave the cats. I'm personally not a big cat person, but the book sounds good. Next up, we have the Astral Library. Says a gorgeously written, fantastical adventure which poses the question: have you ever wished you could live inside a book? Only every day. Welcome to the Astral Library, where books are not just objects, but doors to new worlds, new lives, and new futures. Alexandria, Alex Watson, has learned one lesson from her barren childhood in the foster care system. Unlike people, books will never let you down. Working 3 dead-end jobs to make ends meet and knowing college is a pipe dream, Alex takes nightly refuge in the high-vaulted reading room at the Boston Public Library, escaping into her favorite fantasy novels and dreaming of far-off lands, until the day she stumbles through a hidden door and meets the librarian, the ageless, acerbic guardian of a hidden library where the desperate and lost escape to new lives inside their favorite books. The librarian takes a dazzled Alex under her wing, but before she can escape into the pages of her new life, a shadowy enemy emerges to threaten everyone the Astral Library has ever helped to protect. Aided by a dashing costume shop owner, Alex and the librarian flee through the Regency drawing rooms of Jane Austen to the back alleys of Sherlock Holmes and the champagne-soaked parties of the Great Gatsby as danger draws inexorably closer. But who does their enemy really wish to destroy, Alex, the librarian, or the library itself? Okay. This is giving me Page Master vibes with like the going through the different books and stuff. It reminds me of when they're trying to escape the library in the Page Master. So I definitely want to read that. Then the rest of these are all coming out on the 24th. So first is Unread, a memoir of learning and loving to read on TikTok. This is one that I've actually think I found on a list of 2026 releases, but it does have a giveaway going on. As a result of childhood learning disabilities and educational neglect, Oliver James graduated from high school and became one of over 8 million functionally illiterate Americans. However, at age 34, with big dreams and few tools to actualize them, he dedicated himself to learning the key skill that had evaded him his entire reading. I think this was to say entire life reading. Oliver became a TikTok book talk sensation for the way he's candidly documented his decision to learn to read as an adult and his struggles and triumphs along the way. Here he tells the full story behind his journey for the first time through the 21 key books that shaped and informed his experience. His story reveals the ways in which reading can teach each of us how to be better, more empathetic people. In just 365 days, Oliver went from barely being able to read a restaurant menu to closing in on his goal of finishing 100 books in a year. This saved my life. This book saved my life is a moving reminder to all of us that words and stories have power and that no matter our past, it's never too late to grow. So, memoirs are not usually something that I read. However, books about reading and the importance of reading and the impact of illiteracy, those things are right up my alley. And I think that the issue of illiteracy in adults is um, a very important issue and something that we need to be focused on. And I would love to read this person's experience. I don't follow them on TikTok or anything like that, but I would definitely like to read about their experience. Next up is Cleopatra. This is one that I am very interested in reading. Queen legend Cleopatra tells her own story in this evocative and sensuous historical epic. Cleopatra. It's like there should be like a colon there or something. You know my name, but you do not know me. Your historians call me seductress, but I was always in love's thrall. Your playwrights speak of my witchcraft, but I was gifted my talents by the gods. Your poets sing of my bloodlust, but I was protecting my children. They cannot credit that a mere woman could be powerful, strategic, divinely blessed to rule. Death will silence me no longer. This is not the story of how I died, but how I lived. So I wanted to be an Egyptologist when I was, I don't know, maybe third, fourth grade, somewhere in there. And for a while, I actually thought that, that's something I wanted to do. Okay, so definitely had to enter the giveaway for that. Oops. Next up is Weaving Shawl. In this debut Gothic fantasy, the first book of an enthralling fantasy romance trilogy, a young woman who can see the dead strikes a deal with a magnetic and dangerous purveyor of dark secrets to save her brother's life. 3 years ago, Lena Alsair woke with a terrible power. She can see the dead. Since then, she has hidden herself from the world, knowing that if she ever reveals her curse, she will be locked away in an asylum. When her beloved brother Rami falls fatally ill, Lena is faced with a terrible choice. Let him die or buy the expensive medicine that will save his life by bartering the only valuable thing she has, her secret. The Saint of Silence, a ruthless merchant who trades in confessions and is shrouded in unearthly rumors of cruelty and power, accepts her bargain for a deadly price. Lena must find the ghost of Percival Avon, the last lord of Weavingshaw, or lose her freedom to the Saint forever. As Lena's search takes her and the Saint to Weavingshaw, she finds the estate and the surrounding moors to be living things, hungry for blood and sacrifice. Fighting against Weavingshaw's might, Lena must also fight her growing pull toward the enigmatic Saint himself, whose connection to Percival Avon remains a mystery. As the house begins to entomb them, time is running out on their desperate hunt for answers. For Lena has come to see that here in Weavingshaw the dead are not hushed, and some secrets are better left buried with them. Next up, I'm kind of going in a totally different direction with And Now Back to You. So this says two competing meteorologists are forced to find common ground in this opposites attract when Harry met Sally inspired romance. Jackson Clark and Delilah Stewart have had their fair share of run-ins over the years, often ending in disaster. While Jackson thrives on routine and organization from the comfort of his radio booth, Delilah loves the spontaneity and adventure out in the field. When they're partnered against their will to cover the snowstorm of the century, they find themselves scrambling to figure out how to work together. Eager to be taken seriously as a journalist, Delilah offers Jackson a deal. If he can help her ace this assignment, she'll help him rediscover his long-lost fun side. With an undiscovered chemistry burning beneath their clashes, the unlikely partnership quickly tumbles into an easy and surprising friendship. But when other feelings start to enter the equation, can Jackson and Delilah withstand the storm? Or does what happens in the mountains stay in the mountains? I love a good rom-com romance. Next up is Beauty and the Demon, which is number 5 in a series. This was one that was a giveaway book, but I don't think that you have to read them in order. But I may be wrong about that. But anyways, in this story, he's the villain, not the hero. Murmur, the nefarious necromancer, is losing his mind. His army of souls scream in his head, and his dreams are filled with bone-chilling visions of his approaching death. But a villain always has a plan, and his will unleash a torrent of destruction unlike anything hell has seen before. Before his plot to succeed, he requires one final ingredient, the blood of a certain headstrong witch, who quickly becomes a complication he never saw coming. This heroine can rescue herself. Suyin, leader of the Montreal Coven, hides her dread beneath a tough exterior. Unusual abilities she can't explain are taking over her life, and she's haunted by ominous dreams. Her fears are realized when she's captured by a demon with bloodshot eyes and a scorpion tail. Murmur plans to leave her in his dungeon, but Suyin has no intention of making this easy for him. Bargaining with demons is dangerous business, but she'll do anything to survive. Enemies may become lovers, but fate has other plans. Forced into close proximity, things begin to shift between Suyin and her captor, but as the necromancer's machinations reach a pinnacle, he is faced with an impossible choice: achieve his master plan or free the woman who resurrected his dormant soul. And then last February release is The Iron Garden Sutra. As a death monk and a team of researchers trapped on board a spaceship of the dead encounter something beyond human understanding. Vessel Iris has devoted himself to the Starlit Order, performing funeral rites for the dead across the galaxy and guiding souls back to the infinite light. Despite the comfort he wants to believe he brings to the dead, his relationship to his fellow vessels are distant at best, leaving him reliant on his AI construct for companionship. The Spaceship Council of Nicaea, the Spaceship Council of something has been lost for more than 1,000 years. A relic of Earth's dying past, humanity took the ship to the stars on a multi-generation journey to find another habitable planet, yet never reached its destination. Its sudden appearance has attracted a team of academics eager to investigate its archaeological history, and Iris has been assigned to bring peace to the crew's long-departed souls. Carpeted in moss and intertwined with vines, Nicaea is more forest than ship. But the ship's plant life isn't the only sentience to have survived the past millennia. Something on board is stalking the explorers one by one, and Iris, with his AI construct, may be their only hope for survival. So these are my January releases that were on my radar, so I'm just going to go through those a little bit more quickly. First up was this Tea and Alchemy. And it says a tea leaf reader in 19th century England falls in love and in danger with a reclusive alchemist in an enthralling historical fantasy. So again, this is one that's in like that historical romance fantasy realm. And so I want to read this one. I guess I don't have to go in order on this one, do I? Let's just start at the top then. So the third book in the Raiders of the Lost Heart series is coming out, The Lust Crusade. I haven't read the second one, but I do think I want to read the second and the third one. Those are the ones that are named after the Indiana Jones movies. Next up is Graceless Heart. This one is another one that's like a historical kind of fantasy. It says that it is a lush, atmospheric, and achingly magical standalone adult fantasy romance set in Renaissance Italy. Then also A Vow and Vengeance. Deadly tarot, wicked schemes, dangerous alliances. Can you survive the Forge? Sexy, action-packed, and brimming with magic. A Vow and Vengeance is an unputdownable romantasy debut. The Witness is another one that was, I think, a giveaway book. So that's how that one ended up on my radar. If you had the chance to bring magic back to the modern world, would you risk everything to do it? It said down here that it was for readers who love Brandon Sanderson's intricate magic systems. And so I've put that one on my list. The Elsewhere Express is by the same author as Watermoon, which I haven't read yet, but I will soon. You can't buy a ticket for the Elsewhere Express, appearing only to those whose lives are adrift. It's a magical train carrying very rare and special cargo, a sense of purpose, peace, and belonging. So, if I read Watermoon and like it, then that one is on my radar as well. The Wolf and the Crown of Blood is a thrilling and incredibly sexy new dark romantasy series. A princess and a war-weary god met in the ashes of a broken city, forging a pact in blood and sacrifice. Okay, so it says inspired by Beauty and the Beast. So I like that. And it says that it's perfect for fans of the Plated Prisoner series. And it has the wit and spice of Quicksilver. So all of that made me put that on my radar. And then this is actually book 2 of a series. I have book 1 on my to be read as well. Alana actually is the one that told me about this one. So I'm not going to read that because it is book 2. I don't want to give any spoilers for book 1. Then I have A Spell for Drowning. This is a historical fantasy. And it says it's steeped in the salt and superstition. The salt and superstition of the Cornish coast, full of forgotten sirens, mischievous sea gods, and the lore from days long since past. So it does say perfect for readers of Circe and the Bear and the Nightingale. And I enjoyed the Bear and the Nightingale. So hopefully that one will be good. And then Rings of Fate is another one that I think I would like to read. She is a barmaid who doesn't believe in fairy tales. He is a prince cursed to live one. So that sounds interesting. Next up is Dragon Cursed by Elise Kova. So, since the dragons emerged along with the scourge that ravaged our lands and people, there's only one human city that remains standing, Vengard. So, it seems like you could turn into a dragon. It is a YA, but it does sound interesting. And then the last one is The Swan's Daughter. In this lush and romantic novel, a prince is only as good as his beating heart, and a maiden is only as good as her honest word. But when love and truth become impossibly tangled, the two must figure out how to survive together or fall completely apart. So that is it. Those are the books that I know of in February, and then the ones that came out in January that I'm interested in. If you know of any other January or February releases that you think I would enjoy, definitely drop them in the comments and let me know, because it's just kind of one of those things that sometimes you just don't know everything that's coming out, or maybe there are some indie published books that are coming out that you think that I should be aware of. But yeah, just let me know. So anyways, that is it for this one. Hopefully I will see you in another video soon. Bye guys.